Hi, I'm Matilda Lawler. I play Marge Truman on Welcome to Derry, and you are watching Pop Culture with Pat. I hope you enjoy.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat. I'm so excited to be joined by today's guests. Today I'm talking to Matilda Lawler, who plays Marge in It Welcome to Derry. Matilda, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Pat. Happy to be here.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And I'm going to give you guys a spoiler warning. This is going to contain spoilers for It Welcome to Derry episodes 1 through 4. So make sure you guys are caught up before watching this interview. But just to start things off for you, Matilda, as far as just being a part of the show, can you talk about your audition process? Was it always going for Marge, or did you audition for any of the other characters?
Yes, so when it came to the audition process, I was a bit surprised by how simple it was. Like, I did audition for both Lily and Marge
Okay.
at first, and yeah, I remember like for Lily, it was the scene where she's telling the story about her dad getting
All
shredded
crushed.
up.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh dang, this is intense, very dark and sad. And I do like the emotional stuff, but I was like, the scene with the audition scene for Marge was a lot more kind of fun for me.
Yeah.
Like I got to kind of I felt like I had just like been highly caffeinated and got to like talk super fast and just like play with a physicality that I had never played with before. She's just a very different character from anyone I've ever played before. So that was exciting to me. And so yeah, she stuck out to me. And then months went by after I had recorded my self-tape and I didn't hear anything. And I was a little bit disappointed because I'm a really big fan of the It movies and Stephen King. And so then, like 4 months later, I heard that they were interested. And then I hopped on a call with Andy, and he told me about his vision for the show and his vision for Marge. And I was like, there's no way I'm not doing this. This is like the coolest thing ever. So luckily, they offered it to me, and I was like, there's no way I can. This is the best thing ever.
Oh
So.
yeah. Such a fun role and a fun series. And outside of what you got in the script, where did you draw inspiration from as far as bringing Marge to screen for the series?
That's a great question. I did a lot of research of the era of 1962, and I I watched a lot of videos of kids from the era, and I feel like I kind of drew some inspiration from them. I definitely I draw inspiration from life too, always, and I have some people in my life that kind of remind me of Marge a little bit, just in like their energies and their hearts. I think Marge has a really big heart. And I also drew inspiration a little bit from some of the other Stephen King universe things that I've seen. And I did a lot of like a very I watched the It movie so many times. I don't even know if it was intentional, but I think I kind of ended up pulling some things from the other actors in the It movie. Yeah.
Movies. Yeah. That's really cool. And I was going to follow up with that and just ask you. So it sounds like you were a big Stephen King and then just It fan in general coming into this series. It sounds like. What are some of the other favorite properties like outside of the world of It?
I'm a really big fan of The Shining and Carrie. I I just those are some of my favorite movies, and his writing is just it's unbelievable. There's no one like him. Like when you read, you're like, I'm just in awe of him as a writer, and I'm a big fan of the It book.
So you must
I
have been
haven't.
pretty excited just being a fan, seeing the
Yeah.
whole Dick Halloran aspect of him being part of the series and kind of seeing his storyline play out. I'm sure that must have been such a blast for you.
Such a blast. And seeing Andy throws in so many Easter eggs, aside from Dick, which I
Yeah.
think Dick is such a cool character, but like there are so many other references and little fun things that were so exciting and more down the line.
Oh
So,
yeah. Yeah, I can't wait to see what just from what we've seen so far. I mean, you also got Shawshank in there as well. So if you're a Stephen King fan, this series is so much fun to watch. There's so much that you can pick up on just outside of like the main storylines, lots of little Easter eggs here and there. Now, can you talk about developing the complicated relationship between Marge and Lily? Because initially early on, Marge isn't exactly the best friend to Lily. So, and obviously there's a history there. So, can you talk about kind of developing that with Clara?
yeah, great question. So we have a really wonderful acting coach, Mr. Ben, and he was such a vital part of this whole process for, I mean, definitely for me, but I think for all the kids. He he instantly, like when we got there, there were a couple weeks of pre-production before we started filming where we were kind of just rehearsing scenes and talking about our characters. And Mr. Ben likes to do a lot of improvs with us, and that was super fun and very informative for like our performances. And I remember one session he had Clara and I come together, and he was like, "Okay, girls, I think it would be a good idea if we could make like a timeline of your friendship."
Oh,
So we, Clara and I sat together and we just spent hours like crafting a timeline of Lily and Marge's friendship. So, like, when they first met, what that was like, how their relationship evolved and existed for so many years before we see them on screen. So, there was a lot of history that we were carrying with us that we both had learned about, had set in place, and we also made a playlist together, Clara and I, that was like a 1962 playlist that kind of would be something Marge and Lily would listen to. We actually made a dance together to
oh,
Jailhouse Rock by Elvis Presley, um, for my English project. And I feel like all of that was informative for forming our relationship on screen because, the time we spent together off screen, even just as Clara and Matilda, was like definitely helped us gain this sort of comfortability with each other. And yeah, you're right. Marge is not a great friend to Lily in the beginning. And it was difficult for me when I first read the script to really empathize with Marge and understand why she was being such an unkind friend. Um, and But then like I said, Mr. Ben, being such a formative person in this whole thing, he was able to we just talked about it and kind of created Marge's backstory. And I realized where she was functioning from. And she was functioning from this place of just wanting to fit in with people and wanting true friends. And that's not coming from a mean place. That's
yeah.
just coming from a place of wanting connection and wanting to be validated and feel like you have a place where you belong. And I think that's such a relatable human experience. So when I thought about it that way and understood that about Marge, I was able to really empathize with her and understand where she was coming from. And then, yeah, it gets better.
Yeah.
Episode 4, I think we kind of see Marge. She's about to tell Lily the truth. So she's about to be brave and be the bigger person. So she has that great arc. Yeah.
And things get, crazy from there. So I was gonna say, is that why you think that Marge is so desperate to please the patty cakes and wants to be friends because she's just yearning for that friendship, even though she might not be going about it in the best way?
Absolutely. I think Marge, the backstory that Mr. Ben and I created for Marge is that she has lived in a very neglectful household and she hasn't really received the kind of validation and care and love that she deserves, that everyone deserves. And as a result, she had that with Lily. Lily was her source of friendship and safety, but when Lily went off to Juniper Hill, she was left alone with
Yeah.
nothing. And I think that's easy to forget that Marge was there with no one. And so as a result, she looked for that validation and friendship somewhere else. And of course, that somewhere else isn't really ever gonna give her the validation and love that she deserves, but she doesn't know that.
Yeah.
So she's kind of on this hamster wheel of like constantly trying to gain it when it's not even gonna serve her if she does. But yeah, for me, in my perspective, she's a very good person and
Just a little
she's
misguided at
only
times.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, and can you how was it working with the Patty Cake girls too, and just getting some of those scenes where Marge, she's making fun of some of the other students because I feel like you kind of got to let loose and be a little even be a little bit more goofy there with some of those scenes. So I'm sure you must have had a lot of fun filming those.
Yes, those scenes were such a joy to film. Andy always had like the I could tell he always had the best time with the patty cakes because like Andy, the thing about Andy that I love is that he's kind of a little bit of a child, like a child in a way. Like he's the smartest guy ever, but he has this childlike excitement and joy, and just like creativity about him. And I think the patty cakes always brought that up in him and in me. And so he those scenes were always very much like improved and you never started out with a scene that looked the same as what you ended up with. It was always wildly different. Like the scene in episode 2 in the cafeteria when the patty cakes and I do kind of our little handshake,
Yep.
that had been completely improvised. We came to set that day and Andy saw us. We had created this handshake because I had just seen the movie Grease and I thought it reminded me of the dance that they do. I forget what it's
Yeah.
called. And so he saw us doing it and he was like, "We're putting that in." And I think it became like the coolest part of the scene.
Yeah.
And also with Hannah who plays Rhonda, it was always so funny because she always chews gum in the scenes. And so you just could hear Andy off screen going, add more gum, blow more bubbles. And he was like, chew louder, chew louder. I don't want to understand what you're saying. And it was like, it was just so much fun. And yeah, I did kind of have this like permission to just be goofy and do character impersonations because Marge likes to do impersonations,
Yeah.
and that was super fun for me.
I love to hear that you guys had that freedom to just kind of really expand and explore your characters with little moments like that. And I'm gonna give just again gonna give a spoiler warning because this question specifically regarding episode 4. So spoilers, 3, 2, 1. Episode 4, we have the bug eye scene, just filming that with Clara. Can you talk about filming that and then you or Marge attempting to try and like cut out her eyes? Because I'm sure filming that whole scene must have been pretty crazy.
It was very wild. We filmed that scene for about a week. So it was a week of me filming in different locations in the school and screaming. And I did indeed lose my voice by the end of the week. But I had the best time walking around with this massive prosthetic on my face. And our wonderful background actors who I really respect and did such great work on the show. It was so funny to like, because they don't have the script, so they don't really know what's going on. It was kind of funny to like be walking around and they're all like, "What? Like, what are you wearing? What is going on?" Because the prosthetic looks pretty ridiculous. It's this like half of my face, um, and then it has like wrinkles as if my eyebrows are being raised. And then it's like two big circular cutouts of like bloody, it looks like, our eyelids
Yeah.
expanded. So it kind of looked like these like binoculars or something. Um, these bloody binoculars. So that was a little bit, that was really fun. And it did get itchy under there and I couldn't take it off, which was hard, but it was so worth it. So worth it. And yeah, so basically the way that it worked was um as the eyes pop out over the course of the scene, they placed these wires that attach to the prosthetic. So basically, there were these like really long wires
Oh wow.
with like little bulbs at the end for them to CGI on top of. So I was like running around the hallways of this school with these like wires popping out of my head. I looked as if I was probably like an alien maybe. And the thing was the wires kept falling out. So we'd have to reset constantly. So I would be like, ah, ah. And then the wires would fall out and they'd be like, sorry, Tilly, we have to reset. Can you go back? And honestly, I loved it so much. It's intense, but
Yeah.
it's really fun to get to scream and go crazy. And then that last bit where I do chop off my eyes. That was a little bit scary because this obviously the equipment's real. None of it was functioning,
Yeah.
but it's definitely very imposing when you have this huge saw that you're right up against, but they were very safe about it, and it was really fun to get tackled by Clara at the end too.
Yeah, no, I mean that whole scene it came out great and I don't know as a fan like watching the series or just like paying attention to stuff online. I don't know if you kind of pay attention to that, Matilda, but do you have any favorite fan theories for the series so far that you've seen?
Yeah, I love, I try to limit my screen time, my time on social media, but I have seen some of the really awesome theories and things online, and I am just so excited that people are getting so invested in the show, and I love seeing people coming up with all these wild theories. I'd say my favorite theory online is that Marge is Pennywise.
Yeah, that's the one that I was actually gonna ask you about because we see that scene where her walking in the hallway and we see like the yellow glow like in her glasses. I
Yeah.
think that could just be a glare, but it's like, yeah, we see Pennywise and he has the yellow eyes at times. So okay, so you've seen that too.
I'm not gonna say anything because I don't want to like, but
Yeah.
that theory has definitely brought me a lot of joy.
For you, I guess like reading the scripts, what was the moment for you that was most shocking to read when you were going through it?
Oh,
At least that we've seen so far.
okay, that we've seen so far. There are some shocking things down the line for sure, but the most shocking thing I've seen so far, I was I was a bit shocked by reading about Marge's eyes popping out of her head, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think the thing about this show is all of the scare scenes are so unique and kind of unbelievable. You would not think of that as something you just wouldn't imagine that on a daily basis. Like I'd never thought that this that my eyes would pop out of my head ever.
You
But
have some early foreshadowing though of that. I think it's like episode one or something where
yes.
she does mention that, oh, do my eyes look big in these glasses here?
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause I mean, I also love how none of the things that scare the characters are meaningless. Like every scare scene has a deep rootedness in the fears of the characters. So Marge is deeply insecure about her eyes and her glasses, and it's always been something that she's been made fun of for. And so yeah, Pennywise deciding to prey on that insecurity makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I was definitely like, what the heck? And now she's gonna cut off her eyes, and now she's gonna be bloody, and now she's not gonna have an eye. What? But so yeah, I was like, whoa. But I was like, this is really cool. This
I'm
is
sure, yeah, reading a lot of that stuff on the page and just imagining how that was gonna translate to the screen must have been like, how are they gonna do this?
yeah, no, totally. And I don't have any say over the editing or any, that's all not in my hands. So it's like I just hope that they make it work, and they really did. I'm so impressed by all of our CGI editing team, our just all of the people who came together to create this. It looks really cool.
Oh yeah, yep. And so for Matilda, when you have to act scared, especially a lot of times, sometimes where there's stuff there that might not necessarily be there for you. Obviously, we see it as the audience afterwards. But when you have to act scared, what do you kind of do to get yourself to that point? Because I imagine that can be kind of challenging sometimes, just to kind of flip that switch and go from 0 to 100 real quick.
It definitely is difficult sometimes to do that, but I think like for me, staying really connected to the circumstances of the story, it can be really easy like when you're on set filming a long day to just kind of forget what's going on for the character or get out of it. So like for me, it was really helpful to physically stay like kind of doing stuff. So like jumping jacks, energizing, things like that to just keep my energy up. Because there is a lot of waiting around on set for like different setups.
Yeah.
So that was definitely helpful. I'd say like staying connected to things that really scare me and like kind of holding those visuals in my head and dropping in that way, just keeping those things real. It's not easy, but it's really cool to do that as an actor.
To follow up on that, Matilda, so it appears to people as what they fear most. If it was coming after you in real life, what would it appear to you as?
Ooh, that's a great question. I have really random fears. Like it's always been kind of weird things that really scare me. And when I was younger, there was this book called The Chocolate Fever that I still am terrified by. And it was this book about a boy who ate too much chocolate and then he got a fever where he like got chocolate dots on his skin, and so I
That'd be
guess,
interesting.
and like that fear still lives with me. Like my sister hid the book in the laundry room to try to like keep it away from me. But I knew that it was in the laundry room, and I did not go into the laundry room for 2 years because I was so scared.
Wow.
And then the kids at school figured out that I was scared of the book, and they took it out of the library and started like rubbing it in my face.
Oh no.
So kids can be cruel,
Oh
but
yeah.
yeah, but so I guess if the kid from the chocolate fever came after me, I'd be really scared.
Or even if you started all of a sudden you started developing a chocolate
Oh
rash.
God, yes. And I forgot. I literally stopped eating chocolate after reading the script or the book, which is really sad because I love chocolate. So,
Yeah. Oh
but
man.
it's over now. I eat chocolate all the time now.
Well,
So,
that's good. I'm glad that you're able to conquer that fear. And
yeah.
I'm not going to say what episode, obviously, that Pennywise officially shows up, but can you just talk about your reaction to seeing Bill Skarsgård all set up in the Pennywise costume and makeup and everything? Because it's one thing to watch him, see him on screen, whether it's the movies, but then to actually see him in person, I'm sure is a whole different experience.
Absolutely. He's very imposing in person. He's very tall and he's a very nice guy, but it kind of throws you off when like he's nice, but he looks like he's gonna kill you or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was a lot of lead up and excitement to us seeing him. Like we had kind of seen little sightings of him whether it was at Crafty or whether we saw like his chair somewhere with the Pennywise name or just like little things here and there. And but they did work to kind of keep us separate from him up until that scene to get our reactions as authentic as possible. So yeah, it definitely there's nothing you can do to prepare for seeing him in person. It's its own thing, and I I kind of expected it to be like less scary in person than it is on screen, but unfortunately that was not the case, and it was a lot scarier in person than it was.
I love how you guys were kind of teased the same way that the audience is, that we see little hints and whether it's the red balloon or other little things throughout the first several episodes leading up to it. So I love how you kind of guys were kind of teased the same way to capture that authentic reaction from you guys.
Yes, absolutely. And no, that's such a good point. And it was filming that scene. Like it's terrifying, but it's getting to see Bill work is just the greatest gift ever because he's such a talent. He's really amazing.
Oh yeah, for sure. And just to wrap things up for you, Matilda, is there anything else that you would like to say just about the experience, about working on the series overall, and where can fans stay up to date with you moving forward?
Yeah, fans can stay up to date on my Instagram, I guess. Matilda Lawler actor. And I do have TikTok. I don't post there as much, but check if you like TikTok, you can look me up. And yeah, I'd say like, I want to shout out there's so many amazing people on the show that, don't really get to talk about themselves and the work that they did. I want to shout out Danielle Props. Danielle is the amazing woman who was dealing with my glasses the whole time. I had like five different pairs of glasses. Some of them were magnified, others were no prescription, some of them were like full on prescription, some of them had little pinholes in the middle where it was like no prescription, surrounded by prescription. It was a very complicated deal with the Marge glasses, but Danielle was always there to give me the glasses I needed and give me the moral support I needed. So, shout out to Danielle. Um, I hope everyone is enjoying the show.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah, gotta give a shout out to all the people working behind the scenes because I feel like sometimes if you're not like a nerd like myself who's so obsessed with kind of learning all the behind the scenes aspects, or if you're working in the industry, you don't realize how much goes into making a series or a movie, but it really takes a village just with everyone behind the scenes, the actors, directors, etc. So yeah, congratulations to you, Matilda, to the rest of the cast and crew. I've been really enjoying the series so far. Can't wait for people to see the rest, and you're welcome back anytime in the future.
thank you so much, Pat. Hi, I'm Matilda Lawler. I play Marge Truman on Welcome to Derry, and you are watching Pop Culture with Pat. I hope you enjoy.